Imagine that you're on the way to a job interview. You step into the building, get into an elevator, and all of a sudden, the human resources person gets into the elevator with you. If only there was a way that you can uniquely present yourself and your business to the HR person in the time it took the elevator to get from the bottom floor to the top floor. Well, I'm here to tell you that there is. My name is Alessandra Lupo, and today I will be talking to you about how to craft and execute the perfect elevator pitch. Specifically, I will be talking to you about what an elevator pitch is, how to make one, and finally, how to properly execute one. First, I will talk to you about what an elevator pitch is. An elevator pitch is a short speech that is basically an overview of you and your business. According to an article posted to the Interview Guys website in January of 2020, an elevator pitch is a speech that should be 30 to 60 seconds in length, which is about the time that it takes from an elevator to go from the bottom floor to the top floor. And this roughly translates to about 80 to 90 words. So what an elevator pitch does is it boils down all of the information about you and your business down to the basics. So who you are, what you do, and what you can bring to the table. Why is this effective? Elevator pitches are effective because they are intriguing, therefore they will garner interest. So I came up with this model, and it says intrigue garners interest, because the length of the elevator pitch gives just enough information so that whoever you're giving this pitch to will be intrigued, therefore they will want to know more information. And it just gives potential employers some background info so that they can ask you questions later when it comes to your actual interview. So now that I've talked to you about what an elevator pitch is, I will be getting into how to make one. There are 6 steps in total for making an elevator pitch. I'll be talking to you about the first 3 right now. The first step into making an elevator pitch is to introduce yourself. So I gathered all of this information from a really neat website called The Balanced Small Business, and an article that they posted in January of 2020 basically highlighted the 6 steps that you can take when writing an effective elevator pitch. I reworded these questions, however, I put the original questions in parentheses at the end so that you can use those as a guide when writing them. So just to reiterate, the first step is to introduce yourself. This should be short. This is just your name and whatever business you do. The second step is to describe your skills and services. So what do you offer? And this is the time where you can really get into your strengths, what your business does specifically, and what you can offer to a potential employer. The third step is describing the benefits of them hiring you. So what problem do you solve? When I gave an elevator pitch, when I was the traditions chair of my old college's campus activities board, I used this step to really describe how my time management skills could effectively collaborate with vendors in order to order the products we needed on time in order for a traditional event to occur on campus. So this is just a step where you can really describe what they would gain by hiring you. In my case, it would be time management skills. Now I will be talking to you about the last 3 steps, 4, 5, and 6. The fourth step is where you can really illustrate your unique experiences and your unique qualities. So the Balanced Small Business, in their article from January, worded this as, how are you different? So this is where you can really talk about your personal experience and anything interesting that sets you apart from other people. So in my case, I had an experience where I went to a campus activities board conference, and there I gained networking skills in order to work with different vendors, different comedians, different personalities like that. And so I built up a network, and that would be one of my unique qualities. So this is where you really get to explore what makes you different from everyone else and just run with it. The last two steps are a little different. This is where you kind of spin your pitch around on whoever you're giving it to. So the fifth step is to ask a question. This is also very effective once you get to the interview stage. For example, I recently had an interview for a job at Southern. And at the end, I asked the question, what do you like the most about working at the newspaper? And they loved that question, and I ended up getting the job. So this is your chance to show your interest by asking questions and by showing that you want to know more about the company so that the company wants to know more about you. And then 6 is give a call to action. So you could either ask, what is your information? Can I have your card? Or you could turn it around and say, here's my card. Email me, call me if you want any more information. For example, when I was on the campus activities board, we all had business cards that we would give out to the different personalities, vendors, and they would contact us that way. So now that I've talked to you about the steps, here are some example pitches. This was taken from a website called Iberdrola Corporativa, and they're a website that really talks about different strategies in companies and hiring. And so this was their example of a pitch. And I put in my personal pitch as well when I was on the campus activities board for Lesley University. And you could tell that it follows the steps to a T. So I introduce myself, I lead in with a hook, which is optional, but a lot of people do choose to do that because it garners interest. And I talked about who I was, what I did, qualities that made me different, and what they could gain from having me on their team. And this could be applied to any industry or occupation. So now that I've talked to you about how to make one, I'm going to be talking to you about how to execute one. So the execution is simple. This infographic is also taken from that same website, Iberdrola Corporativa, and it basically breaks down second by second what you should include in your elevator pitch. And I also included some tips for how to execute one. The first tip would be to rehearse. You're not likely going to have a piece of paper in front of you while you're giving your elevator pitch. So it's really helpful to just rehearse it so that you have it committed to memory once the opportunity arises for you to actually give your pitch. Another tip would be every second counts. So looking back to that infographic, literally every second counts, because in that short time period, you need to really explain the essence of who you are and what you can bring to the table. Another tip would be to provide your business card or other form of contact that you can give out. So when I was on the campus activities board, I not only gave out a business card, but I also gave out a social media card where they could follow us on Facebook, Instagram, whatever social media we had at the time, where they could reach out and contact us. And finally, you should just be yourself. Nobody wants to hear a pitch that's dry or shows that you're not interested, because if you're animated and yourself, the company is really also going to take your personal style into account there. So now that I've talked to you about the execution, we can recap. So Today, I've spoken to you about what an elevator pitch is, how to make one, and how to execute one with examples. Thank you.